Good evening, welcome back here. Sorry, I had to just let that song take its course because that's the kind of song it is. We're gonna have ourselves the next match coming up, so that will be RoX.KIS taking on Aware, and the draft's already on the way. So also, of course, welcoming my co-caster, Vance. Vance, we have got ourselves Axe in the game.
We do have ourselves Axe. We also have Invoker Centaur from RoX.KIS. Apparently, BZZ and Goblack, they straight up just stole the strategy from DK. Not exactly the dumbest idea ever, because let's be honest, if you can steal a strategy from DK, you should, because they're real good at stuff. But yeah, this is an almost like staple combo now that's been sort of, you know, like I said, it was shown off by DK more than anything. Invoker Centaur, you jump on somebody with the Centaur, you throw out the Sunstrike with the Invoker, practically whoever it is dies. The only problem with this combo is, of course, you know, Centaur, he's very vulnerable in the off lane while he's actually in the laning stage. If he doesn't get up that fast Blink Dagger, we've seen it before, it can happen. It's very easy to shut him down with the right support combo. The best time that Centaur comes up, though, is when the enemy supports are weak and they can't zone somebody out or they can't kill them. Shadow Demon, for the moment, unless he's paired up with somebody who's really good at killing someone like a Mirana, which just gets banned out now, he is not good for actually dealing with the Centaur Warrunner. So I think this is nice. Kunkka's another option for them, but Aware actually picking up the IO, so this might be more of a, you know, a more traditional Wisp combo here. They might pick up a Tiny or something. We don't know exactly, though, right now. Yeah,
we've seen quite a few Tinies, and also CKs are coming back. The Chaos Knights making their return. Really depends on how Aware wants to use that Axe as well, since, I mean, he's been used in the offlane before. He's been used in the jungle, but I guess for now they can have multiple options here still. I'm a bit more happy with RoX.KIS' lineup. There's your Tiny still, but I mean, they've got the Centaur, they've got the Invoker, two heroes that we normally see banned out, so they got both of them. Definitely nice to have. Next to that, they've got extra pushing power in the Shadow Shaman. They've got a Baron to help out in the laning stage, where Centaur is maybe a bit more easy to shut down before he gets his Blink Dagger or his first real big item. So they can have that one too. They've basically got the ultimate run at you lineup. And it's very scary right now for Aware, and they have a lot of pressure on themselves. Now, normally I'd say, well, maybe they can get ahead at the start of the game before Centaur gets his Blink, before Invoker gets high levels, before Shadow Shaman is level 6, before Baron is level 6. But with an IO Tiny, they also need some startup time, so they don't really have that luxury. I'm a bit worried for them at this point. However, if they can farm up their Tiny amazingly well, then yes, definitely. They still have a big shot at taking this game home. For Aware, so far, they're not really doing all too hot for their standings. Aware has played 8 out of the 10 games so far, so this is their 9th game. They've won 2, so lost 6. That's kind of sad. RoX.KIS, they've now played 6 games with 5 wins and 1 loss, so they're looking pretty solid. But yeah, on paper, RoX.KIS should definitely be taking this one home.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that. The thing is, for me, though, with Aware, is that I feel like if you look at the numbers, you look at this team, you go, oh, they've not had a great win rate. But it feels like every game that they go in, they put up a pretty strong draft, they put up a strong game, and even when they're winning, it's like they're just one of those teams that's not quite great at finishing off. So maybe the Tinker pick, smart pickup versus Aware, because Tinker, obviously, very, very good at pushing the enemy back, at defending your base, at holding your own ground. So maybe a smart option for a team that's not as strong late game. But Aware, I feel like I can't say this team will lose in almost any game, because they always do well. They always feel kind of strong and then just make some sort of small mistakes. I mean, that's why they're invited to TI qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
I think they're in. So there are other teams with potentially better win rates overall, but Aware, they seem to just put themselves up against hard teams and maybe not just quite make it. I think overall, this draft, though, it looks, like you said, maybe a bit in favor of RoX.KIS. The nice thing, though, for Aware is that both teams here, they have this kind of combo where one person initiates. For Aware, it will be the Axe. For RoX.KIS, it will be the Centaur. And then the others can get there very quickly and can do something about that. So for Aware, they can relocate in their IO Tiny combo. And for RoX.KIS, Tinker can Boots of Travel there. Invoker can, of course, Sunstrike globally. So both teams have a kind of similar lineup here. Both teams, I mean, aware they have a defensive support, Abaddon. The defensive support for RoX.KIS. Just going to be the last hero coming up for Aware here. And I want to see what this is, because it's probably going to be a mid or an offlaner, depending what they want to do with this Axe. I kind of want to see the Axe go the mid, though. It's not easy going up versus the Invoker as a melee hero, of course.
Definitely true. I have to just say yes. Aware is indeed in the qualifiers, and I think it's nice because they haven't been really getting that much exposure, right? And this is definitely their chance to shine. Now, this could potentially be already a match that we're gonna see. I want to say next week. But no, that's not true, because the European qualifier is the last one, so 2 weeks from now. 3 weeks from now, wow.
2 weeks from now.
3 weeks.
I don't even know when they are.
The 24th until
like
the 27th. Well, I'm flying next week Sunday, so I'm excited for that.
Alright, sweet.
Yeah, but we're gonna start not with Europe, we're gonna start actually with America, and then Asia, and then China, and then Europe, so Europe's our last ones. So, and that actually comes pretty handy, because the LAN finals for this tournament should actually be happening on the 17th. That's in 2 weeks from now. So if the European qualifiers were earlier, that would not be good, because, you know, then the finals of this tournament would be coming in trouble. But for now, there's still hope, and there's still well, there's not that much hope for Aware, actually. I don't think that they would be going to Moscow anyway. Wrong.
No, sadly, I don't think they'll be going to Moscow. But either way, definitely a team that every time I see them, they do something impressive with their lineup.
Yes.
Even if they do almost always lose, it feels like that's just they're one of those teams that just can't seal the deal. I mean, typically we'd normally say that about MYM, but they've done very well in this tournament.
They've not lost a game
basically
yet.
Just stomped everybody.
And
so
tonight
far.
they have their most difficult matchup. They're up against Empire tonight, so this could
That's
be
gonna
their
be a
first
great
and
game.
maybe only loss. It is going to be a great game. I'm looking very much forward to it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully the next 2 games are going to be good too, though. Especially also the next one, RoX.KIS versus NextKZ. For Aware, I find them comparable to Power Rangers a year ago. With nice ideas, a lot of action, a lot of nice plans, but never really seemingly getting those plans off the ground. So I think if they play just just more, they'll get there. They get that synergy right. They get the plans going properly their way. Let's take a look at who's playing what and who's going where. Because for now, well, no, thank you. It's going to be a dual lane mid. Roger will play the IO mid together on the lane with Creep, who is playing the Tiny.
That's Seema the Slayer. It's just his names. Yeah, I know. I swear Valve said we were getting the proper names every single game, but apparently they're not 100% working or something.
No. Well, Seema the Slayer then on the Tiny here on the dual mid lane. On the bottom lane, it is the Darkseer, played by Hakon, who's also streaming right now. And he's gonna get harassed away here. Didn't pick up the Surge, so has to be careful until he's level 2. Didn't pick up a single level on experience either. Where's that Iron Shell? Dude, Hakon.
He's just trying to trade right now. I guess he's worried about his cast animation taking too long, but yeah, in the end, he just burns off a couple of tangos from Shadow Shaman, and now he's a little bit ahead of this Shadow Shaman, but Shadow Shaman very good at doing damage early. Sorry, carry on going through these
lineups. I guess
lineups.
he's also doing to stay in experience range, because now he's actually half a level there. He's still gonna chase. We're gonna just follow this for a little while, because it looks like we might have a bit of a trouble on our hand. Yol did not, went for Ether Shock, so he did not go for the Sable. If he had Shaco or something, Hakon would be long dead. But now it looks like Hakon is going to be okay. His level 2 is around the corner. There it is. Taking a look at top lane as Lolik playing Axe. Doesn't Axe normally have something around his chest? Because I don't think, in the picture,
this
it looks
feels...
naked.
He's not wearing any clothes anymore. Axe has slowly lost clothing. I remember when I first joined, he had way more on. He had a load of armor and stuff, and then he then it just went to a belt thing. That was nicely played then from him.
That's very nicely played. Yeah, the stomp was on the way, but first Berserker's Call. He is, by the way, supported by Stress, but Stress was more busy pulling and stacking for the moment. But yeah, that's the dual lane for top. As I'll let you introduce RoX.KIS, who is on the radiant side for this game.
Yeah, on the off lane for RoX.KIS, it is going to be Seedoy again here, backed up by Goblak on one of his, most common heroes here. He's going to be on the Abaddon. In the mid lane, it is going to be Solo. He's going to be on the Tinker here, going up versus the dual lane here. So far, not doing badly, considering he's got a few last hits, a few denies, and of course, it's going to be BZZ on the bottom lane here, playing under the name 633. He's on this Quas Exort Invoker here, backed up by Yol. They're trying to deal with this pesky Darkseer, but still no level 2 and... Ooh, mid lane.
Yep, I have
Roger
not missed First Blood in a while, but I did now.
Damn,
Roger,
it actually has been a long time since you've missed First Blood. But
yeah.
I know, because I watch all the VODs to, like, see things and stuff. I watch, like, all the VODs because I'm, like, super analytical and, like, super, like, everything needs to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I'm bad at that. It's terrible.
Well,
I'm a crazy person.
It has happened on a day where I actually have a lot of viewers. I mean, typical. I'm just still surprised that Hakon is actually gonna die first, second, I guess. Oh, Surge away. There's gonna be another right click. Boom. Because I have to say, I was surprised. He was playing so cocky. I was surprised RoX.KIS wasn't able to kill him off earlier on, so I was expecting First Blood on the bottom lane. Instead, it's Solo that dies. Now, obviously, like I said, we missed that one, but did you happen to see what happened? Because I don't think, like, it should not happen in theory.
He threw Roger at him. He actually threw Roger in for the toss, and that allows you to get the slow from the tether. It's not much, but it's just about a little bit, and that's why Roger ended up being caught up on the high ground up here. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened there, and yeah, they do manage to pick up the First Blood with that little combo there. It is a very adaptable and powerful combo. Obviously, the Tiny, he'll do more damage if he gets the full Avalanche Toss combo off, but if you need to, you can throw the Tiny in and get the slow off from that, but... For the moment, looks like Roger trying to do a bit of contesting the lane here. Does get the DD, but he doesn't exactly do a ton of damage even with a DD on him.
Oh,
they're trying to go for Solo here, though. They are a lot faster than him, but this is such a deep dive in.
It's a bit scary, to be honest. I would say go bottom now, or go top and maybe sandwich the center of the Abaddon. Also, two heroes that are not easily ganked, but... Well, they'll just rotate back mid. Well, Solo is there first, so he gets some extra... There, Solo so far, he's not doing all too well on the last hit though. He's only 10 rather for 4, 11 for 4 right now. Going up against Seema sitting on 14 to 4, so Solo is having a tough time here, and it's not going to get any easier for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely true. One of the issues that Tinker has is his laning stage is pretty weak. The nice thing for him is, of course, once he gets Boots to Travel up, even if he just gets his Soul Ring in a bottle, he can farm up this Ancient stack here. It's only 2 stacks for the moment, but he'll try and get more, and in the meantime, though, Aware playing very aggressively on their safe lane here. I think this is smart play from them, and Axe already a hero that you can play ultra aggressive on, but they're just going on Seedoy here. Seedoy actually going on to Stress here.
Oh,
I can't tell who's going to go down, if anybody.
Is the call going to be there? Does he want to try and take it down? No.
This is the manliest lane ever. Both teams are just like, want to run at you.
Centaur versus Axe. Muscle versus muscle.
Like, maybe that's why Axe is a bit more naked now, right? Because he was like, he looked at Centaur and was like,
damn it.
You have two sets of feet. I need to show off that I'm manlier than you. And just, like, ran forward. Just like that. He just, I mean, he does not care. That is Axe's mentality. And that seems, Lolik is playing, he's role-playing right now. He's running into
Axe. It's actually, like, there's a lot of people then role-playing Axe in that case. Because... there's a lot of people often just running in at people, especially from in this tournament, from what we have seen. One of the
definitely that's true.
One of the troubles I find that Tiny would be walking into in this mid lane is that he is going to be under-leveled slightly because he has to share levels with the IO. But I like what they do right now with just having IO not in the lane. He is for a reason, so he's going to have the courier bring his bottle first. In the meantime, there's a disruption. This is trouble for the Darkseer. He's actually gonna go down. Stress did try to save him with the disruption, but not gonna happen as he does force BZ away with Stress.
He's getting a lot of poison stacks on him here.
Level
this
3 on
does
that,
a lot of damage now.
It's not gonna kill him, but it's done. Let's see how much
it'll do
damage.
a ton.
Let's see how much like that did.
I mean, that hurts. That hurts.
That does hurt.
Definitely.
And I think that Axe is hurting as well. Seedoy looking for a stun, and it turns around as he decides not to go for it. Does get a shield though. This Abaddon. If this Abaddon was not here, Axe could really be the manly Axe, and I think he could actually get us a couple of kills. But this Abaddon is saving Seedoy quite a lot.
Yeah, he's just about keeping Seedoy up here. One thing that they do have to be a little bit concerned about is, of course, Axe is, in some ways, I mean, he's, you know, kind of a counter to Dazzle, kind of a counter to Abaddon as well. That shield does nothing versus the Culling Blade, and the same can go for the Borrowed Time Ultimate.
Solo gets
if the Culling Blade will go through it, it'll kill.
Done.
And yeah, nicely played on the middle lane there. Again, right now, Aware, they just seem to be executing their little combos that little bit better, and the fact is, until they get the stuns off and the Sunstrike, they're trying to actually.
Lolik is
Oh, he tried for the Culling Blade
nothing.
then.
Yeah, I think if he turned around and he got an extra spin and he had that extra health, he could have shot both. That's what he was hoping for. I guess Demonic Purge Stress is trying to finish the job here. I might be able to do it actually. I think he will be. There he goes. That's actually
Nicely
decent
played from the
for
Shadow
Aware
Demon.
still. Yeah. And at least it gives something in return for Axe dying. It's better than nothing for sure. Not a good trade, granted, but a trade is better than no trade, so at least that's something they get there. And they actually forced 2 people to sit in the fountain. This is very, like, 3 people are here. This is 3 people not getting experience, not getting gold. While Aware, they are getting some experience in gold, but most of all it's going the way of BZZ. He is solo pushing a tower and nobody's coming to defend it.
Yeah, right now, BZZ, of course, Quas Exort Invoker, very difficult to deal with in a 1v1 situation. You get Cold Snapped, you get Sunstrike, or you get Cold Snap and those Forge Spirit comes after you and you will die. The great thing for Aware right now is that their Initiator is getting much more gold than the side of RoX.KIS' Initiator right now. And oh, again, middle lane here, or Seema, he tried to throw him back there, but just kind of unlucky there because the toss, of course, it does just randomly select a close unit. It's not it's not targeted. It selects a random close unit. So he ended up throwing a creep back there, but tried to go for another kill on solo there. And this game feels very close right now, but Axe, he has almost got his Blink Dagger right now, whereas Centaur, he's only up to 1100 gold. And as soon as Axe initiates, Wisp is going to throw somebody there, and he's 20 odd, less than 20 experience from level 6 as well.
Yeah, and on top of that, Tinker is not ready to start fighting it either. Solo does have an Ancient Stack to take down, but he's fairly far away from having his Boot to Travel done. Also an item that he kind of needs before he can start doing some real damage. Same thing as the Centaur needs some startup time. Now BZZ, he normally, as an Invoker, has got some startup time as well, but I would say that he is about done. Considering that he also got the tower. He's got 2 kills, the tower just died, he didn't get the right click on the tower. Wait a second, top lane, Stampede. So Cedo can get away, but that does mean that there's 4 people top. Lolik showed off his Blink Dagger. That does get the tower for it as well, but the relocate. Ooh, Roger actually relocates himself into the middle of a couple of people where he wouldn't want to be, and yeah, he ends up going down. Nice reaction from RoX.KIS, knowing that those 2 would come back, and also, of course, nice reaction from IO, because he made sure that Tiny didn't go down with him. He actually left him top lane.
Yeah, ultimately, the big issue for them was that they weren't able to get the relocate in just the right place there. They managed to hold in the Centaur for a while. They relocated, just a bit too far off, and with the Centaur just running around with his Stampede there, he's able to escape that gank, and yeah, Wisp, wherever he comes back, he's, Wisp is Wisp. He's very, very squishy on his own. He's entirely a team fight-based hero. He's entirely there to help his team, to help with ganks and stuff, but now on the bottom lane,
chopped.
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah. Work with your team, you get some kills, and it seems to me like this game going even is actually very much in favor of Aware right now, because what do RoX.KIS have in the way of aggression? What do they have in the way of tower push? They have Shadow Shaman. And Aware, they can take this late game. He did just get level 6, but they can take this late game. They have a Tiny, one of the strongest late game carries in the games, and, well, it'll be reliant on Solo doing well on Tinker.
Yeah, let's not forget the Tiny throws Axe combination. It's also pretty potent. A fun one. He does have Blink now, so in a way he doesn't need the toss, but it's very scary. Use
it anyway.
Use it anyway, because it's just hilarious.
It's much more entertaining.
They've got the Darkseer as the natural mech carrier, by the way, which I think is very nice for the supports. It frees up them to go for a bit more of utility items as well, like a Force Staff in this case is ideal. To get away from stampeding people or from tornadoes and stuff like that. Of course, IO is not really going to get a Force Staff, but for example, Shadow Demon is an amazing one to get that on, and he's not forced to go for anything else. So that's really good for Aware. Yeah, I think they're looking pretty sharp. They have to try and keep this up. At the same time, once RoX.KIS has got those core items up that we were talking about.
Top lane. They might go on Seedoy again here.
As well. Seedoy, I don't think he's gonna make it out. That's gonna be the same thing that they tried earlier. At least last time they got a tower and Seedoy made it out with the Stampede, but not this time. But yeah,
that's just exactly what they did
come
earlier.
Back here. The wards are already down. Lolek is turned into a chicken, but making it out alive, or making out alive. He's taking a Roger is actually gonna get dropped, taking a lot of damage. Nice march in the machines as well. Just making sure that Aware is not gonna go back in. But that's good because RoX.KIS was dropping fairly low. That was Shadow Demon, I believe, getting those people so low with all the poisons taking on. I can't really underestimate how much damage the Shadow Poison actually does.
Yeah, and with it stacking up to 5 times as well, it does way more damage than it used to. They're gonna try for the tower deny there, but difficult to deny a tower versus all those wards and Exhort Invoker and the Forge Spirits as well. Not much you can do about that there, but it really does feel to me like right now, RoX.KIS have just been that little bit behind for the moment. They have managed to get their Blink Dagger up on the Centaur, and until that point, they haven't managed to get any of these Sunstrike combos out. They haven't managed to jump on anybody, so I'm hoping soon they can get one of these combos out, because right now, Aware are the only ones to actually use theirs, which is, of course, that Axe Initiate and then follow up with the Tiny Wisp Global. And then, you know, it's a great combo for them, but I'm worried a little bit for RoX.KIS, because if they don't take out a lot more towers, this Tiny can get very, very farmed, and he is an incredibly dangerous hero once he gets very farmed, and there isn't much to deal with him if he gets a BKB this game.
Nope, that is definitely true. So far, Seedoy is trying to keep the knowledge of the Blink Dagger secret, or at least I think he does. He did go for a couple of creeps just now, but I don't think that Aware scouted it out. They need that first... Well, obviously they can if they look at the ward, but they need to get something with this first Blink Dagger, some aggression going. I'm not sure if they can make it happen, because this is their point where they should be maybe making a stand, perhaps. Want to wait until Solo has got one extra item or something like that? Wait a second, they ping on Seema. They want to take him down.
Yeah, they want to go for this.
Activated as well. They've got the Stampede up if they want to. They've got that Blink Dagger as well.
Oh, Seema's got spooked. He's just walked out of there.
Spooked. Yeah, and Roger.
And that's what happens when people are too... They were missing for too long on the map. Nobody was going anywhere. People are smoking down onto the bottom lane. It becomes a little bit obvious when nobody's trying to farm, nobody's defending on the bottom lane, and yeah, Seema just got spooked and decided to get out of there, and now he's halfway to his Aghanim Scepter. He'll get this before the 20-minute mark at this rate.
They want to fight top.
Now, yeah, Aware are ready to fight top, and the nice thing is that in the meantime, before the fight happens, Seema can be farming. He's farming in the middle lane. He's just waiting on Roger to tether and then TP him up there.
Yeah,
they're waiting for the initiation.
Relocate coming in from behind. Stampede is already used, so let's see who they're gonna find. The Tiny and the IO going for Yul. We'll be able to pick him up, I think. There we go, Goblak. He's got his ult still up, so he should be okay. Trying to go for Roger. In the meantime, Roger is gonna get relocated back. So far, it's Axe that died here behind the tier 1 tower, and only Shadow Shaman who died in front of the tier 1 tower, meaning that this trade favoring RoX.KIS and now also a tower going their way. That means that fight definitely went their way. Luckily for Aware, they had that relocate going back, so they don't lose more than just an Axe, but it's still not so, like they want to take the fight. They wanted to win that fight. They were anticipating on winning that fight, and they did not.
Yeah, got to agree. It feels like these teams are both incredibly even, though. I mean, the score is 6-6. The towers are definitely in favor of RoX.KIS for the moment. But, you know, once the Tiny gets up his Aghanims, they'll be pushing a fair amount faster. Both teams, though, they feel like one person is always off, or two people are always off farming, and the rest are just there to be in the fight, be the initiators. In that case, RoX.KIS went for the aggression first, and with the wall down in a bad place from Aware there, their wall was way too far back, and at that point, they don't have all they have, could have in the team fights down, and they just couldn't actually solo anybody out as well. Seema took a long time to try and get his Avalanche toss combo off. In the end, he just ended up missing the Avalanche completely, just tossing up and killing the Shadow Shaman. But they're struggling to get the kills again, trying to go on Goblak here. They just threw Roger at him, but he doesn't want to be near those Forge Spirits. They actually do a lot of damage to him because he has 0 armor.
Yeah.
He's 1, and he's now -1.
Well, one of the things that previous fight, I guess, it comes down to coordination, as you said. If the Darkseer didn't get initiated upon when he did, then Axe wouldn't have been forced to initiate him on only one target. and Darkseer would have been able to get a good vacuum wall in afterwards. So they were just too hasty for that one. But definitely potential for the next fight, and they only lose a tier 1 tower. It looks like Lolek is trying to make things happen. Blink Daggers all over the place. As now also Shadow Shaman and Invoker both have their Blink Dagger ready. 3 heroes here on this bottom lane for Aware, minus Tiny and Io, who can be here whenever they want to. So I think Aware wants to try and take a fight again. 4 heroes of RoX.KIS here on this bottom lane though. And it's not going to be an easy fight for sure. Especially not since Aware this time does not have perfect vision. Why does my doorbell ring?
They do have their relocate up though. Everything's back off cooldown for them, but for the moment, Aware, Stress will just try and throw out all this Shadow Poison. They'll try and counter push because every moment they're counter pushing, they have Seema as well as Roger farming up in a different area. So RoX.KIS, if they're trying to slowly siege this, it's going to take them a long time and it's not incredibly efficient. Luckily, Solo, I mean, he's doing the same thing as Roger and Seema, but I kind of feel like, oh, looks like they might be going now though. With the Tinker up here, this is the time to try and fight.
Yep, and look for a right initiation.
For both teams.
For the moment, Sidoy is way back. He is, of course, wanting to go for the perfect initiation for his team.
So are Aware. Look at Aware's positioning right here. They're waiting for the absolute perfect time. Lolek's going to try and go in.
Oh, he gets 2 with this Berserker Skull. Is it enough? Disruption on the side. Vacuum and Wall is still there. Tinker is the first one to go down, so no margin of machines. Still, though, Darkseer does end up dropping. Turns into a 1 for 2 because Io does go down at the back of the fight. The wards are placed by you as well, so Aware cannot really dive that way, but perhaps they can dive another way. They are looking for Cedo here. The toss comes out. The shield is still there, and another shield to follow up as well, I think. Whoa, Lolek jumping back in. Gets the Berserker Skull up on 2. It is going to be dead for the Invoker. Seema looking to turn around, goes again for the War Runner. This time he gets a kill. Disruption keeping him safe from the Sunstrike stress. He'll live. It is going to be a favorable trade for Aware, especially with that Invoker buying back to go for that Sunstrike. And that means that Aware successfully defended their tower, and now also with the negatives on Tiny, they're going to be a lot more difficult to initiate it upon next fight.
Yeah, things are still incredibly close. Both teams have to end up having to have some one-person buyback there. The real problem for Aware is things didn't even go perfectly then, because Roger, they actually relocated into the wards. They relocated him right in the middle of the wards. Seema was just on the outside edge of them, so he was able to do a ton of damage in that fight, but they'll get themselves another tier 1 tower here. They'll start evening this up, and now, again, the fight's going to start. Cedoy's here. The Tinker's coming in soon, but Cedoy taking a lot of damage.
Nice vacuum.
You really want to fight the Tiny just as he gets his Ags.
No, they don't want to fight. RoX.KIS also is the one to be more defensive, especially with Cedoy already taking indeed that massive amount of damage. And I said earlier that Darkseer... Oh, wait a second, Lolek. Berserkers go up on Solo. In comes Cedoy. They're getting the stun up on Solo as well. He's getting saved slightly by the Io, but not enough. Still going to be Lolek dropping. However, that is already a favorable trade. They take down the Tinker, they take down the Centaur, and it looks like they're going to wait and take down the Abaddon as well, as Roger actually takes a large beating. And Goblak gonna get help from Solo. He just bobbed back. If they can kill him off again, that would be
Tinker's here
huge.
On his own.
Avalanche, toss. That's gonna be Solo dead for the second time after just buying back. Typical case of dieback with a relocate out for the Darkseer. Saving Express from Roger. He will go down though, but perhaps actually, Tiny's still close by. Who knows? Maybe they can save him. Stress has got a disruption for him, that's for sure. Places a ward. He actually takes back the Darkseer with him. Sunstrike misses, and Roger, alive for the moment, tries to get himself away. Where's the disruption? Not gonna happen. The vacuum, though, keeps him safe. The wall's there as well. In comes a toss. Goblak now not having his ultimate anymore will be safe, though. Doesn't look like anybody else is gonna die, although Roger. those Necronomicon warriors have it in for him. He is gonna live, surprisingly. Everything gets thrown there. Aware, though, they save their teammates. It's 1 for all and all for one for them, and they get the fight going their way and ended on a positive note as well.
And this is what I mean about Aware. Maybe they don't win every game, but they always impress me there. Great team play from Aware, actually bringing back the Darkseer then when you would never expect it. And the nice thing was as well, they all hid on the other side of these trees here. Well, they knew that RoX.KIS was setting up to try and kill the IO, and then suddenly everybody comes back and Aware are ready to try and fight again, and they do manage to go for that fight. They take everybody out, and this Tiny, he's now up to another 4k gold. They need to get a Hex or something on this Tinker soon, but he is being out-farmed by an absolute ton right now. Yeah. Somebody needs to get a Hex or something to deal with him, and Because otherwise, he's just going to get, you know, he can get BKB, he can get AC, he can just run at their team and just cleave everybody down right now.
Yeah, his BKB is done. The only one that's keeping up on farm with him is BZZ, who has, of course, got a Necro 3, which is a nice item to get, for sure, and it does fit in their lineup. They've got quite a bit of push going their way, but in terms of physical damage, they're kind of lacking at this point. And that's the only thing that you can do to Tiny once he's in his BKB, so it is going to be quite scary for RoX.KIS the next fight, especially because of that 10-second BKB charge. Perhaps they can force it out earlier than that, but I'm not so sure if they can, because Roger is sitting behind that Tiny the whole time, so if he is in trouble, he'll get relocated out, and Roger will sacrifice himself for that.
Yeah, definitely. Well worth sacrificing for him, and the thing is their team, it's not like they're relying on the Tiny initiating, right? They have Lolik that's able to do that, they have Hakon as well, Lolik. He's got a blink as well.
He's gonna jump in, he's taking a ton of damage, a vacuum might have saved him though! He'll still end up going down, rockets flying in, Aware still want to fight this, especially with that BKB turned on by the Tiny, but Tiny, he is just gonna go for the Necro.
He's taking a bit too much damage here.
He is taking way too much damage here, and he'll actually end up dropping if he's not careful. He's already dead. Cito jumping in, double edge as well. That's gonna be 2 extra kills. That's a team wipe. Aware.
What happened?
Two Trigger happy. They jumped in and they were not ready for RoX.KIS actually standing and fighting, and RoX.KIS perfectly kiting around and just winning.
It seemed like the Tiny didn't know what to do. It seemed like the Tiny, he just got his 10-second BKB up and sitting next to the wards, fighting Necronomicons. He just stood in one place fighting for the whole time, and
maybe
in the end he wasn't actually hitting anybody on RoX.KIS. Yeah, I think that must have been it. I mean, the big thing for Tiny is that his overall damage is great, but his attack speed is awful, so it's very difficult to actually get off those right clicks without somebody initiating for you, be that the Axe or be that somebody else, and he just wasn't able to get hold of anyone there. Ooh, Lolik.
He's
playing up here, but
his call didn't hit anything. He does have the Blade Mill, which helps him out slightly, make sure that RoX.KIS is at least not continuing his initiation, especially not with IO backing him up. I think
yeah, very difficult to kill somebody with IO behind them.
Yeah, Aware should be happy that they already used those Serpent Wards in the fight, because otherwise this wouldn't just be a tier 3 tower down, it would be also a Rex down. That is how fast this thing can go. This is where RoX.KIS' lineup in terms of pushing potential really pays off. And it's scary for Aware, because even though they've got a Tiny who in a way can do the same thing, as in has a lot of pushing power with Aghanim's especially, they still have so many towers to take down that it's not gonna, like, if they win a fight, they get a tier 2 tower, perhaps, great, but they're not gonna get a tier 3 for a while. So this is really something that they have to be careful for. They cannot afford to lose these kind of fights, especially not on their half of the map.
Yeah, and that's why it's difficult to execute these late game strategies where you run Tiny and such, because the fact is they sacrificed a lot of towers during the early game to RoX.KIS, and RoX.KIS didn't even have that great tower push. They lost towers before the wards were even up. They lost it to Invoker, and that's not something that you want to be able to lose all these towers to. Like you said, if they win a fight now, they take a tier 2, whereas RoX.KIS, if they win a fight in the mid lane, they lose Rax, and whilst Aware can definitely fight back from Rax, it's still a huge thing to lose at this stage of the game, so they do have to be very, very careful. They may be just a little less trigger happy, but that's always dangerous to do versus Solo, who is closing in on a sheep stick now. What's the Invoker actually going for next? Yeah, he's going Hex as well. They know they need this. Hex versus Tiny. If he doesn't get his BKB off, he can't do anything in these fights. That's the absolutely crucial thing for them. Roger will have to do a ton to try and keep him alive, and I don't believe they have a... Oh no, they do have the mech up on the Darkseer, so they will be able to double heal him up using the tether. So they have plenty to work around him here, but they are relying entirely on the Tiny to do sustained damage output. Whereas RoX.KIS, they have a lot of people that can do it. They have the Tinker, the Invoker, to an extent even the Shadow Shaman with his wards and the fairly low cooldown on Ethershock. So I think this is a smart move, but Goblak, he looks in a bad position here, even with his borrowed time.
And well, maybe his borrowed time is going to leave him. Grace. Yep, there he goes. He wanted to place a ward, he got the ward off, but I think that Aware is very much aware, that that ward is actually there, because otherwise why would you see an Abaddon that far in?
Yeah, I feel like if an Abaddon just ran up to your above your ancients, with wards in him, you'd just be like, okay, I get what you're trying to do. That's really cheeky, but that's a nice thing about playing the Abaddon. It's not a hero we get to see very often. I mean, it's really just a Goblak hero. Not many other people want to play the hero in professional games. Just not that popular. He's not very mobile. He's all about making his team do stuff, but He's doing that very well here. He's got no deaths as well so far this game. And this is a pretty high kill game. You'd think he'd have died by now. 12 kills on Aware, none of them on the support. The hard support.
The hard support with borrowed time, has to be said, though.
Yeah, true. And it looks like they're going to go for a tower push here, but in the meantime, I feel like maybe RoX.KIS should be thinking about going that a little bit faster, because every moment they're not killing a tower or they're not pressuring is a moment where Seema is free to farm, and he's doing that now. He's picked up a Hyperstone as well. He's got buyback as well, and that's very important for him. That'll mean that even if they do lose the fight, maybe they won't lose that Rax, and it looks like Aware they're going to try and initiate now. It's all about this Axe.
Yeah, Lolik is going to be the one to jump in. He gets no call off though. Nice! The Hex off first. That's an Invoker paying his dues. Seedoy not gonna get the Shadow Demon for now, but doesn't matter. BZZ will pick him up anyway. Seedoy now looking for the next target. Gonna be going for Hakon, who is able to surge away. Gets a brilliant vacuum wall off though, but will go down afterwards. Seema, can he do enough here is the question. His BKB is almost running out and he has to run. He is gonna be picked off there, or is he? Yes, he is. There he goes. That is 4 dead, and the only one that lives is the one that got turned into a piglet early on. It is Lolik. That is the one to survive. 4 for just 1 Shadow Shaman. Not worth it for Aware once again, and it's starting to get out of hand. They can't afford to lose these kind of fights. This will be Roshan for RoX.KIS by the looks of things.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go that way, and that is the Hex coming out from the Invoker. They had the Hex on the Invoker, of course the one inbuilt as a skill point on Shadow Shaman, and they were able to control at that time, and they stopped Lolik's initiation as well. He's preparing to go in again here. He's got a little bit more health this time. This is dangerous to do though, and they don't have Relocate up. They won't have Relocate by the time he gets there, so the best he can do is steal this Aegis, but that is not easy.
Especially
this is going to be a crazy play from Lolik.
The Spirits? Oh no, he's going to be too late. Invoker will take the Aegis. Was hoping for the Spirits to see the vision for when the Roshan was going to go down, but...
They don't get vision anymore though, do they? Unless they hit something. I think they get
something.
Yeah, when they hit and explode, that's when they get vision.
Meteor will miss actually, and now is maybe Invoker in some trouble. The Demonic Purge coming out as well, but the shield will keep BZZ safe. He is gonna be okay.
Yeah, that shield doesn't get rid of the Purge, but does make him just that little bit harder to go on. And Abaddon, just a great defensive support all round. And in the end, Aware, they're just, you know, they're kind of hoping towards more items on the Tiny. It's really about when he gets his BKB off it, because in that last fight, he got it off just that little bit too late. He'd already been hexed up when everybody got vac-walled, and he wasn't able to execute just enough damage over that. But right now, looks like they're coming in again in the middle lane here.
They're going for Lolik. The vacuum is there, though. Lolik's still alive for the moment. Disruption coming out for him, but he's not able to initiate anymore, not with that low health. Maybe he's going to try still, as long as he hopes that Seema will do the damage solo coming in. He might be in a bit too far, but... I don't think the Tiny can catch up with him, especially not with that one creep blocking him. He'll still end up going down though. Axe gets the killing blow. Surge up for the Tiny now, as they try to find another target. It's Cedar that comes in. Centaur gets the kill on the Darkseer. Disruption, Demonic Purge coming out as well, but he's able to get himself away. Gets a toss his way still. The Spirits might be doing some damage. Lolik now coming in, gets a jump off. Centaur dies, and now Goblak is gonna be the one in trouble. Puts a shield upon himself. Lolik. In comes the jump. No more mana for it. And he actually ends up going down because he spins with the Necro unit on him. Stress now. In some stress, and also disrupting to try and save his own hide. It looks like he's not going to make it out though. That negative earn charge, and the shield that pops. Goblak gets the kill. Still should be able to walk away from this. He's going to teleport out.
Yeah, he'll be able to get out, but throughout that fight definitely went more in the way of favor of Aware there. They did lose that Shadow Demon early on. They took out the Aegis on the Invoker as well. And the big thing is that the Tiny, he was able to get his BKB off before he actually relocated in. He used it immediately as soon as they got there. And that was able to turn around the fight for them, because he BKBs and he just runs at them. He beats down basically 2 to 3 people in that fight, does a ton of damage. He's now got a full AC as well. And wow, even though Invoker is picking people off, that's, yeah, he was just in the middle lane there. In the end, just gets picked off. But even so, this is going more and more towards late game, and Tiny is getting bigger and bigger. At some point, it's going to be very dangerous, because he can go towards the enemy base. Even if RoX.KIS try to take something, the tier 3 is exposed on the top lane, right? So if they want to, there is a point where Tiny can straight up just backdoor. He doesn't care, so... The longer this goes, the more RoX.KIS have to be worried about, but I do believe the Hex, yeah, the Hex is up on Tinker, and he can rearm those Hexes and use it continuously, so this is very dangerous.
Yeah, we see already Lolik. He is the one that it's all relying on. No pressure for that guy, but immense pressure for that guy. Of course, that was sarcasm. Let's take a look at if Lolik can get that perfect initiation going. And if the fingers are fast enough, vacuum into call.
Brilliant.
That is the perfect initiation. I was talking about avalanche there as well. And the toss. Nobody has died just yet though. And that's going to be RoX.KIS now being allowed to make a comeback. The ward's actually locked in place. The Darkseer deafening blast up on 2 as well. The Meteor is going to be not just enough actually to still get that kill. BZZ with a double kill. Buybacks all around. Teleporting back in as well. But Hakon getting turned into a chicken the moment that he comes back. Yol still in some trouble. Goes down on impact. When he gets tossed, looks like it's BZZ running for his life as well as Goblak, or at least disengaging, not even running for their lives. But this is trouble. Aware that just had the perfect initiation they could have hoped for, and they didn't get a single kill off the back of it. Only after the combination was over that they find some pickoffs, but they were forced to use 2 buybacks. Yes, they don't lose any fights, they don't lose any buildings, but it's definitely not a one fight for them as Roger gets forced back again. The Hex actually coming out on Seema.
He's just
Where's the
brought back for this
relocate?
if
There
he
it
dies.
is. That's going to be a relocate out of there. Io is going to be the one to take the fall if they want to go for him, which I think he does. Perhaps he can get himself
Darkseer's coming
out
in though with his
tether.
mech. They're going to try and save him, I think.
No, or at least tether out. No, they're going to try to go in on them. Vacuum there as well.
Oh, nice.
In comes an avalanche. Hits up on 2. BZZ already chopped back. Goblak forced out himself into the high ground. Teleports
Maybe he'll
himself
finally
out.
die.
Where's that vision?
They can't even get
They
him.
can't even get him. They didn't have the disruption up, or at least not the vision there. And that means that Aware only gets 1. But still, it's a fight that they actually get their way. The downside is they're up against Tinker, meaning they cannot take anything off the back of that fight because all the lanes are pushed in towards them.
Yeah, Tinker just doing a great job of that, making it hard for them to ever push off this, but he does have to be careful. The big problem with that fight, though, was that this time they got the absolute perfect initiation. They got the vacuum wall into the Berserker School. Everybody's held there for 3.2 seconds. There's nothing they can do. The illusions are wailing on them. And Tiny was just that little bit too late. They didn't have relocate up, so he had to run in. And, you know, maybe they just... It seemed like Aware, just a few of their players just saw the absolute perfect opportunity. Lolik and the Darkseer played by Hakon, they just saw the perfect opportunity and they went for it. And they hadn't communicated in time or something, because Seema, he wasn't there, they weren't able to control everybody up, and in the end, they ended up having to buy back on this Tiny. He spent a lot of his gold, but now if he dies, they're in grave danger of losing a Rax from this. And if they lose a Rax versus a Tinker, it's incredibly hard to come back. The big thing, though, is that this Tiny, he's still getting more items, he's still getting more farm, he's still getting bigger, and if those hexes aren't used on him at the right time, if he has his BKB up, which is getting lower now, it's only 6 seconds, he'll be able to do terrible damage to them, but like I said, only 6-second BKB and rearmed Tinker with Scythe, so that you can use Scythe continuously. You have a Scythe on the Invoker, you have, of course, the Hex on the Shadow Shaman. They have tons of disable now.
Yeah, oh, Lolik getting hexed up. Yul already jumping forward with his BKB up. Nice disruption, though. Saving Lolik. The wards are still there. Nice fortification. Buying some time to maybe take down the wards, but it's Seema that tries to go for a target. That's not the target that you want to do, though.
Especially because Goblak cannot die this game.
No, and especially that if he
died.
does take damage and there's people around there, which would happen. Nice kill there on Lolik still. We try to come in from the side. But yeah, that Aghanims on that Baden is definitely also one of the factors that is keeping them in. As we are seeing Cedo jumping in. He might be in some trouble here himself. Double Edge gets his hit still off, but the mechanism will keep him up again. And Hakon will be forced back. Surge up on Seema, but they can't save these racks,
here.
not without the combination. They need to get that one-mo combo going, and they can't do that without Axe. So
And wall is now completely down, so there's nothing that's going to stop them. They have to let this Rax go. Hero it'll go down. The range Rax goes first, but there's nothing they can do about it. Even just approaching near, it's just a waste of time. They get rocketed, and in the end, that middle Rax does go down. Luckily, there is a tier 2 up on the top Rax, and bottom lane is pushed out pretty far, so Aware, they're given some respite here. More time towards having buyback on that Tiny. He's brought out a full crit on himself now, so he's doing even more damage. It's like they're relying on a perfect initiation. The Tiny comes in. If he can avalanche and then just hit everybody once and gets a crit, they might win the fight from that. But if they don't get that perfect initiation, RoX.KIS, they can spread themselves out. Goblak can keep everybody alive. Of course, like you said, with that Aghanims absorbing all the damage that his team takes, he can throw shields at everybody as well. And with the Hexes that's coming out, it's just too hard for the Tiny to get his damage actually on any single target. Never mind the whole team of them.
Yeah, Lolik already getting forced back, and his, of course, most importantly, his Blink Dagger put on cooldown whenever those Forge Spirits hit him. That means that no initiation is going to happen on the bottom lane. In the meantime, Seema is trying to take down this tier 1 mid. Will be put in deny range by the looks of things. So at least the tower will drop, but it won't be dropping in favor of Aware.
That's a tier 1 mid going at 37 minutes.
Yeah.
That is incredibly difficult for the side of Aware. At the very least, like you said, they do kill it, but is it really worth it? They're going to try and go on top here, maybe if they can catch Solo, but Solo, he's getting really big now up to a Dagon 3 as well on him. He'll probably look for an E-Blade after that, and Tinker, it's not talked about very often, but in some ways he is one of the strongest carries in the game, because, you know, spells never really completely fall off in Dota, especially Hexes, and he can continually throw them out, so this is getting very dangerous for both teams. It's looking like almost, if either team loses a fight, they might lose the game here. Even with mass buybacks.
Yeah, I'd still put it in favor of Aware, though. That's a bit more reliable. Only one buyback, actually, up on the side of RoX.KIS, that is. On the entire map,
they're just not concerned about buybacks, because they still have most of their... I mean, even if they lose a tier 3 at this point, even if they lose Rax, they can still much more easily push out the lanes. So they're a lot less concerned about having buyback, but they do have to be careful of Aware, because if Aware catches them out, they could lose a lot here, and it looks like they go for Roshan. Well, nobody on RoX.KIS' side is in the area, and Tiny will do this pretty fast. They have to get moving fast. They have to get moving, though. Lolik is here. It's all going to be about this initiation.
Yeah, it's not going to die fast enough. In comes the Tinker, and in comes the rocket spam. Lolik already taking a bunch of damage, only sitting on half health, and he is the one that Cedo wants to initiate upon, perhaps, if he can get his stun off. No, not gonna try and go for it, not gonna force anything out. They know that the situation is delicate, as you already described, but neither of the teams can afford to have the other team take the Roshan, so it's a bit scary. However, if Aware takes the Roshan and RoX.KIS get themselves a tier 3 tower off the back of it on one of the lanes, well, then that's a whole different ballgame in that case.
Dire's top tower
For now, though, it's RoX.KIS that has taken control over the Ancients, the Dire Ancients, that is, and therefore also over the Rush Pit.
Yeah, they just have the big map control advantage because of the Tinker. The relocate ability of the Tinies just hasn't been enough this game. They've done a great amount with it, but it's just not been quite enough to take map control and to get those kills with it, which is what they've really needed. The nice thing, though, Aware, with their Blade Mail up on Lolik here, they're forcing Solo back a bit here, because every time he throws out that march, it will hurt him just as much as it hurts the enemy team. And of course, Tinker, not exactly a hero with a big health pool, although getting this late into the game, he's getting more, but right now, it looks like everybody's just trying to keep as much map control as possible. Seema, a little bit of an odd place for him to be, but he's going to be totally okay here with Roger. He's got buyback as well now, and he's saving up, maybe thinking of buying a full Daedalus. If he gets that, his damage goes through the roof, but it's dangerous because he still needs buyback, because he's still very easy to pick off with all these hexes.
Yeah, especially since the next time that he dies, he's going to be dead for a very long time, because the previous time that he died, he bought back. And even though his buyback is off cooldown again, he will still be...
Yeah, it increases the timer,
yeah,
and it'll be forever. And they are still trying to search out Solo here, but with no hero that can provide them global vision, no Batrider or anything like that, it's just incredibly hard to actually pick off this Tinker. It's at this point they must wish they had a Batrider on their team instead of an Axe, but it was banned out. Or the new Keeper of the Light, although not exactly the best initiator ever. Although that vision is so powerful. It really is very powerful. And RoX.KIS here, they'll take themselves the Roshan. Looks like Lolik was actually trying to contest. He doesn't have buyback.
Nope, and Hakon in some trouble. Disruption will try and save him for a little while longer, but oh, he actually gets a blink off, surges away afterwards. Stress is going to pay for that one though, and the Dagon and the laser picking him off. But yeah, Lolik tried to maybe prepare for stealing an Aegis, but that was scouting out that they weren't.
Aware are just going to rush them. Aware, I don't think they have any other choice. They might try and base trade here. It looks like maybe they're going to try and send him back. I don't know. they have to rely on an absolutely perfect vac wall. If they don't get that, they'll just have to try and base trade, and they're up on the top lane being gone on though.
Yeah, it's gonna be Io that dies here. Looks like Seema is gonna try to teleport out, turn on his BKB, and we'll be making it out alive. In the meantime, Goblak and Seedor are just trying to go for the tier 3 tower. Nice. Darkseer Wall coming out for Hakon.
But these two are just invincible. I mean,
yeah,
Goblak hasn't died
just
at all
forces
this
them
game.
back.
Seedor has like 4k HP plus a load of armor. He has a mech on him as well. You can't kill these two.
Not for the moment, that's for sure. And it's like they're just gonna go back to the Roshan, and they can do this because there's nothing that Aware can do at this point. Not with the wall down, not with the IO not there, not with the split push being done at the same time as well. It's
oh, but Lolix found Solo. Solo TP'd in way the wrong place.
Whoa! Why would he TP in there? Well, that's at least gonna keep Aware in the game for a little while longer. The Daedalus is up
no
for the
buyback
Tiny
on
now.
Tiny.
Yeah.
He buys the full Daedalus, but there's no buyback. His damage, I mean, he's now hitting for 998 when he crits. It cleaves as well. So he really can, if he gets hold of the enemy team, he'll crush them. But it's so hard to do that when you're relying on your teammates to get perfect initiations when RoX.KIS can spread out as well. When RoX.KIS don't all have to be together, it's not like they're running a ton of melee heroes there. They have carries like Invoker and Tinker who can sit back and throw a lot of spells out from different places.
They've got 3 hexes.
Yeah, they have a ton of hexes as well, and one of those is on rearm as well. You can use it continuously. It has an uptime of 2.5 seconds. It's crazy.
It is crazy, and it's going to be Tiny's undoing. Oh, Seedor, he jumps himself into the middle of Hakon as well as Lolik. The Berserker's Call is going to be there.
Crazy.
Do they have enough damage to take him down? Relocate coming in. Yeah, there, his health point just melted. That's going to be the Daedalus paying off. At the same time, maybe they can get some more Goblak. Maybe for the first time, the Monarch Purge coming out for him. The relocate will send Io back, but he's going to leave the Tiny behind. Do they have the damage, though? The Hex up on the Tiny. He's still going to get Surge away. He's fine for the moment. In the meantime, top lane is where Yol is at. He was able to take out the tier 3 tower, and I think that this melee Rex, or ranged Rex rather, is going to fall as well, because there's nobody coming in fast enough to help out. Now Lolik jumps in, but Yol, fast on the fingers, get the Hex off. Should be able to make it out, or perhaps not. Seema looking for an avalanche, finds it as well. No, Yol is going to pop his BKB, still dies in 2 hits though. I mean, that's the amount of damage that he does, but that's worth it. I mean, he got a tier 3 in a Rax. It's a support Shadow Shaman that they get.
Yeah, it's well worth it. It's only a range Rax, but it doesn't even matter, because it's just more that the creeps are going to be pushing towards them, and nicely played from Aware there. They realize the situation they're in, where they're basically continuously losing this game, so they just go for a crazy dive all the way into the enemy jungle, but it doesn't even matter. They just can't push forward here, and Seema, he's trying to do what damage he can. He looks like he'll get them though.
Oh, nice. And maybe Goblak for the first time. Oh, he's gonna be popping his burrow time, standing still for the moment, and Seema chasing him down, and there comes another disruption or purge. That's a kill. That's the first time that Goblak went down. They cannot take down BCC anymore, but well, it's a good fight for them
though, so they have the time to push. Neither's the Shadow Shaman, so they have the time to push. This is the absolute time for them. That's probably their biggest, big opportunity for a while. But with Wisp down, they can't get much, but at the very least, Tiny can push very fast.
Look at BZ. He's going to find Hakon right now. Cold Snap coming out as well. Is there enough damage? I think that he can do enough damage.
He does have the mech.
Deafening Blast, the Surge is already used. Mechanism now for Hakon, but Sunstrike,
he's got to get a good Sunstrike or something.
Why is that bottle there on the floor?
I mean, bottle at this point is pretty worthless. Apparently they don't want one anymore. But yeah, they're trying to push out these lanes, and they're struggling to... Ooh.
Blinks
if Lolik gets that initiation there, they get that kill.
Out.
But
nobody can get there in time anymore. You know what I'm missing? I would have liked to see a Blink Dagger up on a Tiny. I mean, it's late now, and I know that he doesn't really have any inventory space for it anymore, but I think that with a Blink Dagger on the Tiny as well, they could have made a lot happen early on in the game as well, rather than just now when he's very strong. But
maybe the thing about Blink Dagger Tiny is it's almost redundant getting it when you have an IO on your team.
Yeah.
Just because that's your mobility, but yeah, I definitely can see where you're coming from. The big thing is it just slows you down that much, and you kind of want to get the Ags first, and at that point you farm so fast, you're going to find yourself running out of slots if you do have a Blink Dagger. So it's just a bit redundant. I mean, they're relying on their whole team working together rather than just the Tiny doing everything, but it's gotten so late. In fact, Tiny, he throws down his old BKB. He says, this one's useless, it's running out. Buys a full new 10-second BKB. This might be the opportunity, because now he can't be continuously hexed up in the fight after just 4 seconds of very short immunity to magic. So he has to get hold of everybody, but they're so fast, and I mean, with Goblak behind them, they're so good at keeping each other alive, but the great thing now is that Yol is in fact split pushing. I was going to say, he's split pushing on the bottom lane. He's going to try and ward this bottom lane again here. They're just trying to spread out Aware, because if Aware make one mistake, they lose Rax, and if they lose another Rax, it just gets that much harder to win. They have to maybe rely on rapiers or something crazy at that point.
Yeah, this tier 3 tower almost killed itself on Seedoy. Will still end up killing itself on Seedoy though in the end, as an EMP just forces that Tiny away. They go on to the melee racks. The wards and the Shadow Shaman still not placed. In comes Joel, now places its ward, turns on his BKB as well, and he gets actually a ward trap on. As Hakon goes down, still gets the, at least the wall up, but it's not gonna do enough. Buybacks upon buybacks as Seema gets a lot of damage up, but it's not enough. It is just not enough. At this point, RoX.KIS is too fat, too farmed, and too dominating. They get a team wipe, they don't lose a single hero, and they get themselves the racks as well. Aware, not calling out the G. There we go, I was gonna say, but yeah, it looks pretty over, and that is indeed what Aware comes to the conclusion to as well. I have
Aware
to say,
just got pulled apart by RoX.KIS. It took a long time, because it was a difficult fight, because they have to break through a tiny late game, but that was the big thing, is that RoX.KIS just moved around the map that bit more efficiently. They just pushed all the lanes out. They have a Tinker on their team. They can do it that bit easier.
I just Aware has such promise for this, for the especially
they
for
really
the TI
do.
qualifiers. They look so solid and they hold up for such a long time. To be honest, I was expecting this game to be a lot more one-sided than it turned out to be. But at this, like later on in the game, RoX.KIS is just dominating. There's just no way that, and that's also where the experience comes to play. I find experience in terms of captaining. We are gonna jump ourselves to our third game of a night of 4 games in total. We're gonna see RoX.KIS again. Let's see if they can win a 3-0 this tonight, as in they have 3 games tonight, and it will be their third, and they will go up against Next KZ. Should be a good match as well. Afterwards, we're gonna have Empire versus Meteor Makers. Official starting time of the next match is in 10 minutes time, but perhaps we're going to be able to start a little bit earlier as well, like we did previous game, but stick around. And we'll be back with another game of RoX.KIS, and this time up against Next KZ, so don't go anywhere.